know this is Mr. Charles. I'm fully aware that you're unable to see me, but you can definitely hear my voice. This lesson will be very different in that it will be more interactive. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a past paper with you. I'm going to do Life of Pi, and I want to teach you, but more importantly, explain how to answer the questions. I think that's important. So obviously, you need to know the novel, you need to know the characters, the setting, etc. But the problem that we have is that you guys don't understand the questions per se, and I'll try to make that clear to all of you. Before I do that, I want to walk this journey with you. So obviously, you can see my screen, and I want to show you how to access the past papers. So all you do, you can go to any internet browser, and then you type in DBE past papers. Let me open that for you. Okay. And here you will have the past papers for all the years. Okay, you can see that. So Life of Pi started in 2019. So let's go there. No, so that is the November examination. Okay. Okay, there you have Afrikaans and English. So I'm going to paper two. We don't need the memorandum, we need to work it out ourselves. Okay, so there we have it. 2020, this is 2019. So let me scroll down. So there we have the essay question and question 9, Life of Pi Contextual. Okay, so for the NSC, it will be question 9. For the trial exam, it might be different because I think they remove the redundant set work. Okay, but for the NSC, it will be question 9. So grade 12, the first thing you do, and many of you might assume that you read. No, you don't read. What you do, you locate the chapter. So you will notice I have chapter 8. You see there in the right hand corner at the bottom, chapter 8. Why is that important? It is important because you need to understand the novel in terms of its chronological order. So if I see chapter 8, I know it is part of part 1. Okay? And I know that Pi is giving us biographical information about how he grew up, where he grew up, who influenced him, and his childhood. So, okay, so this will give you some sense of understanding. Locate the chapter first. If I see chapter 50, I know that we're on the lifeboat and Pi is struggling to survive. If I see chapter 99, I know that Pi is being rescued and he is telling them the second story. Okay, so it's important to locate the chapter. So, chapter 8. So, obviously, you need to read this. I'm not going to read, but you need to read. Okay, look at 9.1. So, the mark allocation there will be absolutely important. You cannot, at this stage, be writing one sentence. That is impossible. Okay, 3 marks. You need to account for at least 2 or 3 ideas and not one sentence. So let me read. Account for Pi's insistence on teaching, account for Mr. Patel's insistence on teaching Pi a very important lesson. So the question is basically, why was Pi's father insistent or adamant to teach Pi a very important lesson? And the answer could be that Pi's father had the fear that Pi has this tendency to anthropomorphize animals, okay, given his curiosity. So Pi would project human abilities onto animals, and Pi's father found this absolutely dangerous. Um, Pi's father also wanted to create awareness and teach Pi about the danger of animals and that an animal is not your friend. So the idea here is that you explain anthropomorphism and you explain it's because of Pi's curiosity and you explain it's to create awareness as well. Okay, so Pi's father, Mr. Santos Patel, uh, attempts to create awareness, and this lesson would later, influence Pi on the lifeboat as well. Very easy. 9.2 refer to line 13. We set out like prisoners off to their execution. Okay, explain what this image reveals about Pi and Ravi's feelings at this point. So, grade 12, there is emphasis on feelings, and when I see the word feelings, I always say provide an adjectival word, provide an adjective. Pi and Ravi is feeling because, got it? So Pi and Ravi is feeling, provide an adjective, a feeling, and then you account for that feeling. We set out like prisoners off to the execution. So Pi and Ravi, you can say they were worried, they were uncertain, they were stressed, they were dubious, they were perplexed, they were confused, um, and now you need to obviously account for that because they did not know what to expect. They were fearful of their father because of his strict demeanor. He comes across being very assertive, very authoritative, very strict. So the idea here is that 3 marks for 2 ideas well explained. Okay. The first idea here is that provide the feeling and explain why. Because they are uncertain, they didn't know what to expect, they are fearful because Pi's father is very strict, and they were uncertain, why Pi's father is calling them, and they set out like prisoners off to their execution. Okay, so 9.3 refer to lines 18 to 20. Tigers are ellipsis to a cage. So obviously you go to lines 18 to 20. Discuss the extent to which the lesson in this extract contributes to Pi's survival. And I mean, this is one of those questions, where you need to account for the novel as a whole. Absolutely important. Account for the novel as a whole. We are looking at the novel holistically. So discuss the extent to which the lesson, and remember the lesson is about an animal is not your friend. Do not anthropomorphize them. Be aware of their dangers. That's the lesson in essence. But how did this contribute to Pi's survival? And I mean, for 3 marks, you can account that the lesson allowed Pi to focus on the dangers. Um, Pi's survival depended, on his ability to create dominance over RP. So the reason why Pi survived is because he was able to tame RP and assert dominance, moving from the beta to the alpha male in this context. More importantly, Pi also understood the idea of boundaries and the importance thereof and how to maintain boundaries. And this lesson was influenced by the idea of flight distance. Okay, so here you need to explain about danger. You have to explain about how he was able to tame RP. You need to explain the importance of boundaries and link that to the idea of flight distance as well. And that will give you easy 3 marks. Okay. 9.4, discuss the significance. In other words, discuss the importance of Pi's of mother's role in Pi's second version of the story. Now, if you do not know the second story, you lost. I'm very sorry to say that. Okay? If you do not understand the second story, you are lost. You need to understand the second story or the second version of the story. And you need to read chapter 99 because in the first story, Pi's mother passed away. Um, we know that, hey? But in the second story, Pi's mother is alive. Okay? So the answer there would be discuss the significance of mother's role in pies. So mother, in spite of being traumatized by the cook, mother continues to play a gentle, caring, and nurturing role. So despite being traumatized by the cook, hyena in other words, Pi's mother continued to play a caring, nurturing, and a gentle role. Pi's mother goes on to defend him against the cook. So Pi's mother defends him against the cook. You can even go on to explain that when the cook killed Pi's mother, Pi became savage. He became animalistic, and this also, played a very important role in his survival because of his savage nature. So, because of Pi's mother's death and the manner in which the cook killed Pi's mother, he became savage. Okay, so three marks. The first mark will be describing Pi's mother as being gentle, caring, and nurturing. The second mark is that Pi's mother continues to protect Pi. The third mark, you account that Pi becomes a savage and animalistic because of his mother's death. Okay, so obviously you explain that in full sentences and not point form. Okay, if you like this, please subscribe, very important, and obviously, spread the word, spread the fire, as C's would often claim. Thank you. Cheers.